Shalom, Barak the Yahweh, Barak the Oshai, Barak the Yahweh, Barak the Oshai, Barak the Yahweh, Barak the Oshai, to all praises, Yahweh, Bashem Yahushai, double honors to the apostles, elders, bishops, great millstone, peace and salutations to the hopeful elect across planet Earth, pushing this truth, the spirit, and sincerity, and the truth. Yeah, just a couple articles, news and prophecy for the week. Yeah, apparently in Southern California there was record earthquakes, about 350 of them back to back in Imperial County, outside of ABC7.com, dated about a week ago, Sunday, May 10th, a few days ago, a few days old. It's entitled Imperial County Earthquake Swarm Begins to Slow After 350 Recorded Earthquakes. A seismic swarm of hundreds of earthquakes that has shaken Imperial County this weekend is said to be slowing down on Sunday. The swarm is a group of quakes, dozens to thousands, where there are many earthquakes close in size, but in no obvious main shock. Since Sunday morning, more than 350 minor quakes have hit the city of Brawley between the Salton Sea and the U.S.-Mexico border. The strongest of them was a 4.7 quake that struck just after midnight. So yeah, they had about over 300 of these little quakes, shake, small little ones, back to back. But that's part of what the Lord told us to look for. You have the wars, rumors of wars going on, and also pestilence. So their article out of today.com, basically this new hantavirus, they're talking about it's starting to spring up. Who knows, what they're planning on doing. Maybe they'll lock down again like they did with the C-19. Who knows? But the Lord said he would send pestilence as well. It's out of today.com. It was dated today, May 15th. Will the hantavirus outbreak cause a lockdown? What experts want you to know. Now the passengers on the hantavirus-stricken cruise have returned home. So yeah, they were on this cruise. I guess they caught that disease, which you can catch through mice droppings. That's what they tell us. Now the passengers on the hantavirus-stricken cruise have returned home. Fears of continued spread and lockdowns loom. Is hantavirus giving you deja vu? You're not alone. Ever since the COVID-19 pandemic, news of deadly infectious disease outbreak can trigger anxiety. That was that COVID that happened a few years ago when the whole planet Earth, was locked down. And that most likely was a test run, to see how the people would react to certain situations, because their goal is to chip everyone, according to the scriptures, as well as according to this guy named Aaron Russo, who was a whistleblower for the elites. He brought the fact that they want to chip everybody, and the scriptures say that you can't buy or sell anything, at least you have a mark. And that word mark goes into charagma, which means an implantable device, the Greek word charagma. So the scriptures are lining up, but that COVID-19, they shut down the whole planet, and being that you had to have a jab, it's about 5 years ago, you had to have your papers, so to speak, to go to work, to go to bars, go to restaurants and whatnot. So that most likely was a test run for the ultimate, charagma push, which is right around the corner because all the technology is in place, the digital, digital currency is in place, the digital technocracy, everything's in place to where, they can easily cut you off from society. If you don't have a certain digital uh, capability, or like a digital ID or something digital to access everything. Everything is digital. We're in a technocracy. The fourth industrial revolution, I think it's the fourth or fifth industrial revolution, is the technocracy. Everything is technical driven, digital based. So you literally can be cut off from society if you don't have, that chip. But that's what that pandemic was all about, a test run. And a lot of people failed it. A lot of people failed that test because they wanted their freedom, you know. But that's what that hour of temptation, is all about, right? Putting your faith and trust in Yahweh, Bashem Yahweh Shai, not in Esau. You're gonna have to go to Esau for the one of all things, but in that time, the Lord said not to take that chip. You have to put your faith, in Yahweh Bashem Yahweh Shai and Yahweh Shai to get you through that time. But reading on, now the passengers on the Hantafire-stricken cruise ship have returned to their home countries. You may be fearing the worst. Perhaps you're having flashbacks of early 2020, being stuck in quarantine. The hantavirus can cause severe respiratory illness with a fatality rate around 40%. It can take up to 8 weeks after exposure to show your symptoms. Fortunately, the current hantavirus outbreak is not COVID 2.0. Experts previously told Today it's a serious situation, but the risk to the public is extremely low. So they're saying it, won't be a lockdown, or the risk is extremely low. But this is something that the Lord said He was going to send. The plagues, one of the plagues on the earth is pestilence. Mourning, famine, death, all that's coming. To America. Diseases. If it's not the hantavirus, it's going to be some other disease in the CDC that they're probably going to release. That's everything we was told to look for these last days. This is Matthew 24:3, and as he sat upon the Mount of Olives, the disciples came unto privately, saying, "Tell us, when shall these things be, and what shall be the sign of thy coming, and the end of the world?" And Yahushua answered and said unto them, "Take heed that no man deceive you, for many shall come in my name, saying, I am anointed, and shall deceive many. And ye shall hear wars, and rumors of wars. See that ye be not troubled, for all these things must come to pass, but the end is not yet." So you had all these wars going back, to the 70s, of America. Even before that, really. The hammer of the earth going around the planet Earth. With these different wars, Vietnam War, you had Persian Gulf War in the 90s, and all that. And then you have this Iranian war, which is biblical prophecy, man. So we say Russia is going to be a guard under Persia, which is Iran today. So that's what one of the things we're looking for was the U.S. invading Iran, least of the flock, drawing them out. Those Israelis, starting everything off, For nation shall rise against nation, kingdom against kingdom, and there shall be famines, pestilences, and earthquakes in diverse places. So yeah, man, go on different earthquake apps, applications, whatever, and you can see there's an earthquake every day somewhere. Very small earthquake, small ones, but earthquakes in diverse places. Every now and then you'll get a big one that will make the news, like this one. 350 recorded quakes, back to back over the course of a weekend. The strongest one being about a 5.0 or 4.7, but an earthquake, nevertheless, along with the hantavirus picking up, and other diseases, man. That pestilence, that's what the Lord told us to look for, man. pestilence and earthquakes in diverse places, and as well as famines. There's a famine coming, you know, uh, market collapse as well. Gas prices up to $6, $7 out here, $4 and everywhere else. Which is, I remember gas was $4 out here. That was heavy. Yeah, that was heavy price. Cost you about $70 just to fill up your tank. For $4 gas, $5 gas, over $80, to fill up your tank. That's if you drive a regular car. So average everyday people, living out in the Midwest, down south, paying that's expensive, On top of that, you have these grocery prices that are rising up. And you get $100 just to fill up your grocery bag or your grocery cart. Run you a good 80, 60, $70 for one full bag of groceries. So, all these single mothers out here, all these black women boasting about being single mothers, being proud to be single mothers, and now they're feeling it now. Isaiah 4, it's going to come to pass. It's going to get really bad. These are just the beginning of sorrows, as scriptures say. Yeah, and all these are just the beginning of sorrows, man. It's going to get worse out here, man. Yeah, 2 Ezra 9:1. He answered me then, and said, measure thou the time diligently in itself, when thou seest part of the signs past, which I've told thee before. Yeah, this truth, these prophecies, you know, signs I've told thee before. Yeah. That's what the prophets always did. Prophesy about, evil, great kingdoms of war and death. But measure thou the time diligently, man. Keep your eye on the signs of the time, man. Watch. Then shalt thou understand that it is the very same time wherein the highest will begin to visit the world which he made. Therefore, when thou shalt be seeing earthquakes and uproars of the people, also, people are protesting every other day. There's a protest. That's just here in America. You got protests all over the planet Earth. Uproars of people. A major uproar that took place a few years ago, January 6th. It was 2024, 2025, around that time. When they stormed the Capitol. So uproars of the people. Esau's realizing his kingdom's going down. Then shalt thou well understand the Most High spake of those things from the days that were before thee, even from the beginning of the prophets of old prophesied, man. The same prophets are coming back. Yeah, 2 Ezra 15. Yeah, 2 Ezra 15 and sort of 1. Behold, speak thou in the ears of my people the words of prophecy, which I'll put in thy mouth, saith the Lord. So these aren't our words, these are the Lord's words, man. It's the Spirit working through the prophets, men of the Lord, pushing this truth out here, man. The words of prophecy, that should be the main thing you're pushing out here, is prophecy. Watching, right? Watching for these prophecies and giving our people warning. It caused them to be written in paper, for they are faithful and true. Written in paper, for they are faithful and true, man. Fear not the imagination against thee, let not the incredulity of them trouble thee that speak against thee. For all the unfaithful shall die in their unfaithfulness. Behold, saith the Lord, I will bring plagues upon the world, sword, famine, death, and destruction. We're seeing that, right now we're in the beginning of sorrows, but it's going to get much worse. Look at the word plague, that goes into pestilence. The online etymology dictionary.com, where plague means affliction, calamity, evil, scourge, severe trouble or vexation, malignant disease, affliction, slaughter, destruction, used in Vulgate for pestilence. So the Lord said He's going to send plagues upon the world. So He's going to send affliction, He's going to send calamity, evil, scourging, and severe trouble or vexation. You know, so these are just the words, but when you actually go through it, like with Deuteronomy 28:68, it said you'll go into Egypt again with ships, but the actual reality of that prophecy was 100 times greater than what the words described, right? And this is going to be 100 times greater than what these words right here. It says, "Behold, saith the Lord, I will bring plagues upon the world, sword, famine, death, and destruction." So we're reading that, but it's going to be worse. No plagues. Going to that word plague, the calamity, evil, trouble, vexation is coming to this place, man. But the Lord said, it's all about the faithful at the end of the day, man. Yeah, there's Lord will for the elect. Just going back to 2nd Ezra 9, jumping down, it says, "And every one that shall be saved." Let me read 5 again. 2nd Ezra 9:5. "For like as all that is made in the world hath a beginning and an end, and the end is manifest." Yeah, we're seeing the end right now. The end is manifest. Even so, the times also, the highest, have plain beginnings and wonder and powerful works and endings and effects and signs. And every one that shall be saved, though delivered from these plagues, delivered from the ultimate plague, nuclear destruction, right? And every one that shall be saved and shall be able to escape by his works and by faith whereby ye have believed. So that's the most important thing, man. Shall be preserved from the said perils, and shall see my salvation in my land and within my borders, for I have sanctified them for me from the beginning. The Lord sanctified his people from the beginning, man. Ordained you a prophet. From when you're in your mother's womb, he's sanctifying you. But yeah, the point, that shall escape by his works. He that endureth unto the end, the same shall be saved. The works was, pushing this word, participating in the ministry. And by faith, wherein ye believed. That's the most important thing, that faith, right? Shai even said it right here, Matthew 24:13. "But he that shall endure unto the end, the same shall be saved. And this gospel of the kingdom shall be preached in all the world for a witness unto all nations, and then shall the end come." So yeah, the end is manifest because the word has been pushed into all nations, the whole earth. This word is all over the planet Earth, man, through the internet. So we're at the end, man. But yeah, it's this prophecy, the antivirus, pestilence the Lord is sending out. And there's going to be more pestilences, earthquakes going on, man. Southern California had over 350 recorded quakes, back to back this past weekend. So yeah, we're close with that. Shalom.